President Hassan Rouhani made his debut on the world stage this week with an address to the United Nations General Assembly and a series of other speeches, news conferences, and meetings in New York, but notably none with President Barack Obama, whose White House had offered an informal encounter between the two leaders, something Iranian officials ultimately rejected. But Friday afternoon, the two leaders finally connected in a 15-minute phone call, the first communication between an American and Iranian president since 1979. Wall Street Journal Global View columnist Brett Stevens joins us with more. So, Brett, why this new enthusiasm from the Iranians, at least at the appearances level, for negotiations?
Well, I think they get the sense that the United States really would like to make a deal. Obama has given every indication that he wants to shake Rouhani's hand, that he wants to set a new tone in relations. There is the American debacle with Syria, in which the United States walked away from what appeared to be an imminent military strikes, which shows just how little appetite there is in the U.S. for any kind of strike on Iran as well. So they see an America that's willing to play.
But that isn't what the administration says. The administration says, look, the sanctions are working, the Iranians are under pressure, and now that's why they're doing it. And this new President Rouhani, a new moderate voice, he's impressed the rest of the Iranian leadership with how well he did in the election. So they're willing to say, all right, go see if you can cut a deal.
Well, look, we've had sanctions against Iran for a very long time, and we've been hearing about how the sanctions have been working for years and years with no change in the Iranian Iranian behavior. As for Rouhani, people forget that more than 600 candidates for president were deselected by the regime before they found 6 acceptable people. Rouhani has been a creature of this administration. He was a top aide to the Ayatollah Khomeini going back more than 30 years. So there's no question he looks different. He doesn't have the kind of gauche, vulgar aspects that Ahmadinejad did.
Right.
He speaks in softer tones. But if you listen to what he says, there's relatively little difference in substance to his predecessor.
So what do they want? What do the Iranians hope to get out of this, if Brett is right, that there really isn't much change substantively in their approach?
Well, I think they want to pull the plug on the pressure that has been on them as a result of it. But the sanctions, their oil exports are down to 1 million barrels a day. Inflation's running at 39%. They have a restive population. They would like to try to get out from under that. But let's understand one other thing, Paul. In the last 10 years, they have spent $100 billion on this nuclear program. And it's a huge commitment on their part, and it is their key to ascending to power in the Middle East, is nuclear capability. I think, just as we're suggesting here, they are certainly willing to enter into negotiations with a sort of compliant Obama administration. But I don't think there's any possibility of actually ending the Iranian nuclear program. It's going to be like North Korea, where we talk for a very long time without ending it.
Well, Dan just uttered the key phrase, nuclear capability, because for a long time there was a debate whether Iran wanted a nuclear weapon or simply a nuclear capability. Did they want to be a country like Japan that could produce many nuclear weapons in a very short space of time?
So right on the edge of a breakout capacity.
Precisely. And what perhaps the debate that has been resolved, at least for the time being, within Iran's political circle, is that they would be content with that nuclear capability being right on the edge. That's why you've heard Rouhani say, we will never negotiate away our right to enrich uranium. They want to develop a nuclear industrial complex that will, over time, become invulnerable to any kind of strike, should they then choose to move from capability to weapon.
And will the U.S., do you think the Obama administration is willing to accept that kind of a capability, near breakout capacity, in return for a promise of not building a bomb?
Well, the Obama administration has been all but explicit about that. The wild card here is, of course, the Israelis who have insisted that a nuclear capability for them is tantamount to a nuclear Iran. And I think in this sense, the Israelis are right, because what people forget is that possession of a nuclear capability amounts to use. Very few, no countries really use their nuclear weapons, but by possessing them, it gives them a freedom of regional action, prestige, authority, and deterrence that you don't have if you're not at that stage.
Is there going to be a deal?
I don't think so.
Okay. Wow. All right. We have to take one more.